Dakota State Extension economist Frayne Olson is our marketing analyst this week. We talked with Frayne Thursday morning about wheat condition here and abroad and his reaction to Wednesday's World Ag Supply and Demand estimates from the USDA.
There were two things that the market was looking for and focusing on. The first would be some of the things that happened domestically, the U.S. supply-demand conditions, and then the second to see if there was going to be any updates on the international side of things. And again, the primary focus has been on the corn supply-demand situation, in particular the usage. Given the fact that we had a quarterly stocks report that came up with some extra bushels of corn, the question was, how is USDA going to reallocate or adjust those numbers? And actually on that side of things, it was a positive report. There was put a little bit more of a bullish tone. The adjustments weren't as dramatic as some had expected. There was some adjustment or downgrading in the feed usage. There was a little bit of an uptick in the ethanol usage and a small downgrade in the export expectations. So the idea is that with lower prices now that will hopefully stimulate and bring back some of the domestic demand. On the international side,
Frayne, I guess that corn and beans don't, is that it will get the progress reports over the next couple months. Corn and beans, meanwhile, they may wait until June, maybe until a big report comes again to make a major shift. Is that accurate?
Yeah, on the wheat side, we've been watching the weekly crop progress reports and trying to get a feel for what kind of crop condition we're looking at. And of course, we're very late in the planting process right now, at least in the northern parts of the region, and we really won't get a general idea of crop condition for corn and soybeans in particular until later on this spring.
Right. What's the condition that you're seeing, other than what you're reading? What are you seeing overall across the Midwest as we look at the winter wheat start to come out of dormancy?
Yeah, there's parts of the southern winter wheat belt that has broken dormancy now. Obviously, the weather systems that we've had coming through the last couple of weeks have been providing some really beneficial moisture, and I think most farmers are looking forward to that. But with it has also come some very, very cold temperatures. And so the question, and everybody's looking at as well, is there going to be some winter kill damage? And again, the crop is not in very good condition right now, so additional weather stress is not going to be that helpful. So there's kind of a blessing and a curse to this extra moisture. We have heard some reports, in particular of Oklahoma, where the winter kill damage was a little bit worse than expected. As we move into Kansas and parts of Nebraska, of course, then it's kind of a mixed bag. It depends upon whether the winter wheat has actually broken dormancy or whether it hasn't yet.
What about in your area up there, Frayne, North Dakota, Canada? As you look towards spring planting of wheat, what are the conditions?
Well, we're obviously well behind where we were last year, but again, recognize last year was a very early year for us. So a lot of the farmers locally are saying, well, this time last year I was already planting corn or I was already planting some wheat. And this year we're not. We still have snow on the ground, especially in the eastern portion of the state. We've got this weather system coming through now over the next several days, going to provide us more snow. So it's been a very cool, reasonably wet spring. So we're not going to be as quick in the field as we were last year. But again, recognizing last year was a very, very early start for us. So are we concerned yet? Not quite. But if things don't turn around pretty quick, we're going to be concerned. And it actually gets worse as you go further north. As you move into the prairie provinces of Canada, into Manitoba, Saskatchewan, they've had more snowfall this winter. And again, they've had the cool spring. So far, the snow belt has been very limited. So it'll be kind of a late spring for some regions up there.
How about the U.S. foreign competitors? What are you seeing in those markets where they're still producing that winter wheat crop? What does it look like there?
Well, there's kind of two areas that we have our eyes focused on. One of them is, of course, the Black Sea region, and the other part is Europe. The European winter wheat condition is reasonably good right now, but there are some concerns in a few of the growing regions. The major emphasis, though, has been on the Black Sea, kind of what's going on there, and in particular in parts of Russia. We've been keeping our eyes on this throughout the winter season. Very similar to the U.S. hard red winter wheat producing region. There's a pocket in eastern Russia, in particular that Volga region, that was very dry last fall, had a very open winter. There's some concerns about winter kill. Recognize, though, that the growing region in Russia is very large for both spring wheat as well as winter wheat. So a portion of the winter wheat crop there is under some stress, but there's also a portion that's in a little bit better condition. The other thing we're watching, of course, is the Ukraine. The winter wheat condition in Ukraine is in much better shape. There's also expectation for some increased corn plantings in the Ukraine, which is on the corn market side something we need to keep our eyes on.
And finally, Frayne, if you look at that export market, is the U.S. gaining any strength there?
We are starting to see some recovery in exports now. If you look at the weekly export pace, wheat, in particular, soft red winter wheat class, has really seen some buying interest. There was an announcement a couple weeks ago that China came in and bought several cargo loads of soft red winter wheat, which was a bit of a surprise to everybody. They didn't expect that to happen, but it was obviously supportive for the wheat prices. And essentially what's happened is corn prices have softened. There's less pressure on wheat prices, which has made now the wheat prices more attractive internationally. And so we are picking up some export sales, which is good for the complex.